Hey, Teresa here, and I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different from this video. I'm not going to be necessarily breaking down the team fights, although I will break down a few, but I'm going to be kind of going over what CLG could have done differently in their first game against Curse Academy to prevent them from being down 0-2, because I think they did have a decent team comp, although it wasn't the best, and I'm going to be going over things like picks and bans, level 1 strategies, CLG's ward coverage and their rotations, and also the dragon fights where CLG does lose out on the game. So that's what I'm going to be going over, and stick around for the rest of this video. So first we're going to go through picks and bans. So Curse Academy finishes up their bans. They ban Alistair, Syndra, and Nidalee. CLG first picks Lucian over here, which is alright as a first pick. Like, CLG could have first picked so many different things. Maokai is up, Thresh is up, which Bunny Fufu plays, and Curse Academy actually takes both of those. So this was a really good pick phase by Curse Academy. CLG is still not out of the running yet. And I don't know, if they were to prioritize like their AD carry, they could have picked just a different AD carry in my opinion. There's much stronger AD carries. Over here right now, I think they should take they do take Elise on this rotation, and they take their Mundo on this rotation, so they're actually picking Mundo into Maokai. So I'll let this play. And in my opinion, they could have just easily taken something like Rise or Jax or Irelia. Like, Jax and Irelia are played in the Chinese scene, where they're seen as kind of counter picks to Maokai when he's not banned and he's kind of let through, or Alistair. And they just make it out through the lane phase fine. Like, Maokai's not going to kill Jax, and Maokai's not going to kill Irelia, and Rise would scale just as well as Mundo does. So does Irelia, so does Jax. So they provide, they're not as tanky, but they provide a little bit more damage with CLG needed. The Elise pick is alright. I mean, if they're going to go for this pick comp, which they do on the next rotation of picks, they do pick Leona and Ari. They should have taken something like Nocturne, something like Vi, which would have made it easier to get the engage and get the picks set up, because then they don't have to take the Leona for the hard engage. And they could have gone for the Ori and to take it from Keen, but I don't think they knew Keen actually played it. And to also, it would have made Mundo huge, and then they would have had a decent team fight comp. But like I said, they're going to end up picking Ari and Leona over here. And to just go over quickly some possibilities that CLG could have done differently in this draft, I'm actually going to skip until the end. Yeah, so just go over some possibilities what CLG could have done differently in this draft. A, they could have not first picked their AD carry. If they were going to pick Mundo, they could have just easily blind picked him and let Curse Academy take whatever they want. B, if they were going to stick with the Lucian, which they did, the next rotation, I don't think CLG was planning on any composition. Like, if they were planning from Ari from the start, they could have easily taken Ari, and they could have taken Nocturne, which wouldn't have been a contested pick, or they could have taken Kha'Zix, which they should have done some research and known that Saint kind of plays. So I don't know, the least pick is whatever, but it's still not bad in a pick composition. It's just they could have had something like Nocturne for the hard engage, because Mundo's not going to hard engage anything, and if they wanted, they could have gotten Rise, Irelia, and Jax, like I said before. And also, if they were bent on using the assassin middle, they could have picked Zed, and they could have ran a 1-3-1 split push with Zed bottom and Rise, Irelia, or Jax top, and then their three-man core middle, which could have been Elise is decent at wave clearing with her W. Lucian's really good at wave clearing, so you give Lucian the blues instead of Zed, and you let Zed split push. And any support would have been fine. Zillion support would have been good, but it's banned out. But I think Janna would have been much better as a support over here, but they had to choose Leona because they needed the hard engage for their picks. So in my opinion, it was a really weak draft by CLG. If they wanted to run the pick comp, Nocturne would have been better. If they wanted to run, they should have ran something very different top lane, because yeah, they need someone tanky, but Leona's already pretty tanky, and you could easily get the same tankiness, not the same tankiness, but someone just as tanky from Jax, and someone just as tanky from Irelia, and it kind of gives them a little more sustained DPS that they don't have, because it's all coming from double lift, and everything on CLG is just burst damage pretty much between the Leona passives and stuff like that. So now we're going to skip over to the level 1, and I think CLG actually places level 1 out decently, but not to the best of their abilities. So as you can see, Seraph is actually at the top of the map, and he's going to be kind of screwing around with Chris. And what I don't like about this is that Seraph kind of just sits there instead of because CLG has full vision of everyone. Seraph, in my opinion, should have just straight up walked into this bush and start firing cleavers at Chris, and should have walked down and tried to gotten a deep ward onto Chris Academy's red buff. You can see the same thing happening when Hart goes against Someday top lane in the KTA versus Samsung Blue finals, where Hart just, or Acorn actually just straight up walks through KTA's jungle and just starts throwing cleavers at Someday and hitting him over and over, chunking him, and he places the deep ward and he just walks away because you can't really kill Mundo level 1 because of how tanky he is, and he does a lot of damage and pokes you out with his cleavers. So Seraph doesn't really play this level 1 as I would like, and then the line of scrimmage wards are set up, so that's whatever in my opinion. And CLG clears a ward over here. It's not really that important because Chris Academy knows that everyone from CLG is there because Chris warded and they saw Seraph walk down. Keen saw Link over here. The only thing that would be kind of a surprise for Chris Academy would be Aphromoo. And after CLG clears this ward, CLG immediately should have moved downwards and late invaded into Chris Academy's bottom bush, because Saint really likes to start where his dual lane starts, and they should have let Dexter either clear his blue, or they should have let Dexter come with them to the to Chris Academy's blue buff, because CLG's level 1 is so much stronger with Seraph, Link, Aphromoo, Doublelift's AoE, and Dexter potentially getting his W or his E. He has no ability skilled up right now, so Dexter could still get his E if calls for it, and Leash still jungles fine with E, level 1 and level 2, so it's whatever. But CLG should have straight up late invaded the blue buff, and I don't know, this was a misplay because right here you see him get all chunked out. Dexter takes a lot of damage to get poked, and CLG can't invade because if they invade, they're down like 300 total health on all their characters. So it was whatever, and after this, people just go and farm their old jungles and stuff like that. But CLG could have gotten a lot more from this level 1 if they had let Mundo go in and get a deep ward on the enemy's red, and if they would have, instead of setting up the line of scrimmage wards, they could have easily set up wards in their own jungle to see if Curse invades, and then walk downwards and late invade into Curse Academy's blue side jungle. So next, we're going to go into just a quick point I wanted to bring up at like 18 minutes into this game. So there we go. A little more over here. So what I wanted to bring up is just look at CLG's warding. They have a pink ward, 2 pink wards bot actually, so, and a deep ward in Saint's jungle. So Saint is going to spend a lot of time on the bot side of the map, and this is very, very good for Seraph, but like Seraph is going to get basically free farming. He's going to be able to skill into the late game. But the thing is, if CLG wanted to do that and they know their bot lane draws a lot of pressure, CLG could have easily picked something that has a little more impact top lane and wants to overextend, something like Irelia or something like Jax. Or even a Rise, which kind of bullies out Maokai. And they could have picked something like that and allowed Seraph to just constantly overextend, constantly take it to Chris, because right now Seraph is down and he's forced to play really scared because of the way CLG blind picked Mundo into Maokai. And it doesn't even matter that much because Seraph is not getting ganked, so Chris is just winning this lane 1v1. Meanwhile, all the pressure is onto the bottom lane of CLG, and CLG's out CSing Impactful and Bunny Fufu. So CLG played this bot lane really well, but they didn't allocate, or they didn't draft correctly. So this all stems back from pick and bans, and the lack of pressure on Seraph could have been better on a different pick. So I just wanted to point out that really quickly, and Impactful and Bunny Foof are going to try to clear this up, but CLG is going to scare him away, and CLG is going to eventually get a pink ward in this bush, and CLG is going to control this area so well that Dexter is going to come down and get a free dragon with Link. So this is really good by CLG to control the bot side, but if they were going to control this bot side so heavily, they could have picked a different champion to exert some pressure top lane, so that it kind of draws Saint top over and over, instead of trying to bait Saint down, because Saint hasn't done anything. He's not going to do anything in the jungle-wise and ganking-wise for the large majority of this game until it comes time for the dragon fight. So, time for my next point. My next point is at like 23 minutes, right over here. Yeah, exactly. So, you can see the ward coverage from CLG. CLG outwards Chris Academy very heavily, and you can see the wards by Chris Academy. Chris has one in his tribe bush, and Keen has one right near his race. So these wards are only if Dexter actually invades Crest Academy's topside jungle, which he never does because he knows the wards are there. And Seraph is a low pressure top lane. Seraph just wants to farm up. Um, Dexter is never going to gank top lane, so these wards by Crest Academy are useless. Meanwhile, CLG is getting pressured really heavily. You can see Saint constantly looking towards bottom lane, and Bunny Fufu constantly wants to get some hook onto Aframu. And right here is really good. CLG actually plays out their comp really well over here. They they clear out Vision bot side. They set up a pick onto Keen. They kill Keen. They could have killed Saint if they're a little quicker, but it's whatever, and Saint escapes using his ultimate, and they have deep wards all set up. Now, what has to happen is CLG has to turn this into more Vision, even though they kind of have Vision. Like, CLG could have easily dove bot lane because they knew they forced Saint Vicious out, and they have Vision in the red side jungle, so CLG could have turned this into a dive bottom lane. And Aframu does have ultimate, so this would have been very good. And Link still has ultimate as well, but they just leave it as taking the blue buff, which is kind of minimum risk, and Link does use his ultimate and finishes it up to just take the blue buff, so it was whatever, and CLG could have gotten a lot more out of this, but I don't know, they didn't. So the next point I want to bring up is at around 25. Yep, exactly over here. So right over here, Chris had just shoved up the wave top lane, and you could see him step into the fog of war if you were actually looking at the actual lane. But right now, Chris steps into the fog. I'm going from Seraph's vision. So Seraph is looking at Chris. Chris shoves up the lane. I think Seraph assumes that Chris is backing, but Seraph should have immediately said that Chris is like missing. Like, this is an area where CLG's communication fails. So Chris goes missing, and Double F gets hooked bottom lane, so CLG's communication is probably all over the board right now, and Seraphis probably isn't even talking anyway, so the call that Chris went missing on Maokai might have gone unheard, and CLG's about to get into a tussle with Crest Academy's bot lane, and they're not going to see Saint Vicious, so the only place Saint Vicious can be right now is in the middle of the map, and Link should be playing immediately scared. So yes, he's at his turret, but Link ends up overextending because he gets baited by Saint Vicious, who goes to clear out the ward. So right now there's two people on the map who are off vision, and the only place they could be is middle, because Dexter's in his bot side jungle to help CLG if Saint Vicious is there. Link should have played a lot more scared, and he should have just been clearing out waves, and he would have been able to use his ult under his turret instead of having to flash. And now Seraph is going to go in and port at the incorrect time because he's trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And I don't know, that was just miscommunication by CLG, and CLG should have easily been able to not get killed over there, and Link should have had the advantage and the blue buff in that lane. So the next point I want to bring up is over at 26 minutes. Alright, so right here is the dragon fight. So Dexter's doing a good job. He's clearing out vision, and he's getting what I like to call pick wards, where they're wards where you put them in places where people are going to cross. Sometimes it's high heavy traffic, sometimes it isn't. The whole point is people are going to cross that area, and you can launch skill shots over it, which CLG has a lot of between Leona's Zenith Blade, Link's Charm, Dexter's Cocoon, and Seraph's Cleaver. So they need these wards where people are crossing so that they can land their skill shots and that they can get the picks, because CLG is a pick comp because of their draft. So Seraph is getting vision, that ward is gone, and right over here Curse Academy is moving up, and I don't think this was the proper call from CLG, because look at the dragon timer, it's 000, so dragon just spawned. CLG had the timer, they knew when it was up, but Double Lift and Afro backed at the incorrect timer. They're not going to be there, and oh, I'm sorry. So Double Lift and Afro are not going to be there on time. So right now this is a kind of a 5v3 or a 5v3, because Chris has teleport, and you can immediately teleport into this bush or to this bush. So this is a 5v3. Double Lift is not there, and he's going actually to bot lane for some reason. So this makes no sense to me. So Chris does teleport. Dexter escapes to the green ward, which is really good with his repel, but Keen's going to get a nice 3-man shockwave, or 2-man, which chunks Dexter and Seraph, and that's kind of important for the dragon fight because Dexter is really chunked, and he's popping potions right now. Afro tries to get some vision backwards, they're clearing out wards, and Curse Academy starts this dragon. What CLG does incorrectly though is they funnel in really hard, and they're grouping really hard for the AoE damage of Impactful, of Keen, of St. Vicious, who evolved W first. and they're making it really easy for Chris to just toss out saplings. So like the way CLG has to play out their composition is Aphromoo and Seraph have to be together in the front line protecting double lift, and they have to be the main engage. You have to have Link off to the side, and Ahri has to come flank. So Ahri should be on the bot side of the map and looking to flank into Curse Academy. And Dexter can either be flanking or Dexter can be part of the main engaged with Aphromoo to help the CC lock. So that's just something that CLG is playing their comp incorrectly, even though they had the poor draft phase. So even if like you have a poor draft phase, you at least have to play your comp correctly. So they get all slowed down by Chris. Aphromoo gets a very, very nice ultimate, but Bunny Fufu places the box immediately. Also, I'm not going to do the kind of the team fight analysis I usually do for these kind of videos because this is the whole kind of overarching thing I'm going for. So normally I would go very, very, very in depth into the items and stuff like that for this, but I'm not. So Bunny Fufu has the box going down to zone out Seraph if he does decide to go in. Dexter is way back here, so this fight's a 4v5. Link shoots off a random charm over here, which doesn't hit anyone. He should have shot it off more so into the actual enemy team in hopes of actually hitting someone like Saint or Bunny so that they walk into the team and Seraph doesn't have to cross his box. But Seraph does break this box, and CLG right now is grouping up very, very hard for the phosphorus bomb, and Seraph is going to place the ball over here, and he's going to dissonance or command attack, one of those two. And then CLG is going to get chunked real hard right there. You saw the health bars of all of them fall, and Link, we're going to rewind it a little bit. Oh, that's too far, but yeah, this is good enough. So the fight goes, and they get caught in the AoE. Aphromoo gets his ult, and Link spirit dashes over to this side, which is unneeded. He should have just stayed over by double lift. Like, I understand he's trying to get the flank onto Curse Academy, but his front line isn't there yet. His front line should have either moved this way, or they should have all killed Chris, because right now Curse Academy is off the dragon, which is what CLG wants. And CLG could have immediately backed after this and gone to push mid, and Curse Academy could have taken the dragon, and they would have traded 1-for-1 in objectives, and CLG still would have been up, and there would have been any deaths. But because Link mispositioned himself over here, it gave way for Bunny to get a nice hook onto him, and there's no one in front of Link to tank the hook, so Seraph isn't there, and Afro isn't there. And then from here, the fight just turns really bad for CLG, because even though they get a bit of picks onto Curse Academy, especially onto Saint, who overextends in this fight, Chris is playing Maokai, and he continues to re-engage. Impacto goes forward. Keen and everyone flashes forward. Seraph gets exhausted. Chris re-engages a few times, and there you go. And Dexter tries to escape. But, yep, that's what happened, and CLG misplayed that fight because of the way their initial positioning was. Link should have taken the time to gone around and flank, so he should have poked them out with double of culling, and they should have played kind of back, and also moon nuclears, and they should have played kind of back and been scared from Chris's flash W engage. So my next point would be at 29. Oh, I'm sorry. My asthma's kicking in from talking so much. I should have gotten some water. Anyways, over here I wanted to point out the CLG rotations. CLG has a lot of wards, but they're losing kind of losing vision control because Curse Academy is getting deep wards in their jungle, and CLG has some protective wards. So these wards aren't really that great, but what CLG does over here is super, super good. They clear out the tower, they try to force out summoners and stuff like that from Curse Academy. Bunny Fufu plays it really well by flaying Aphromoo away, but CLG, all they wanted to do was force Curse Academy away. They shouldn't have necessarily used the Aphromoo ult, because it could have been used in a later pick kind of over here, where CLG now clears up vision and goes to take the blue buff, and over here CLG misplays because they do give the blue buff to double lift, which makes no sense to me because double lift is there to, I guess, clear waves, but there's no wave clearing going on at this point. Seraph plays really, really well, and he doesn't die to this gank, so CLG knows that there's only one person in the middle because they had just messed with Curse Academy. CLG has wards in this bot side, and Seraph is about to escape this gank. What CLG could have done is if Aphromoo had ult up, or if Link was ballsy enough, he could have flash charmed onto Keen, or if Aphromoo had ult, he could have ulted Keen, and they could have easily dived him, get some gold back into their name, and could have and just come back and take this turret. So that's what CLG should have done, in my opinion, because they're a very aggressive team and they haven't been showing that aggressive. Well, at least their picks should lend them to being aggressive. And CLG gets the rotations, so they set up deep wards into the enemy jungle, which is very, very good, but these deep wards don't mean anything if you don't use them. So that's that. And my second to last point is right over here, where CLG again they give Doublelift's red buff for some reason. So Doublelift has double buffs, and all he's doing is just rotating around the map and sieging turrets and farming. So Doublelift doesn't ever get a fight with these double buffs, which really irks me because they give Doublelift a huge mid game power spike, even though he was ahead already in the lane. Doublelift doesn't need any more to be more ahead than impactful. Like he's 50 CS ahead or 60 at this point. So what should have happened is that red buff should have been on someone like Mundo, Aframu, or even Link, just someone who's range that's not Doublelift, who's going to be in the front line to auto attack to help get the picks, because Doublelift does not want to be in the front line. He's so far ahead that if CLG loses Doublelift in a fight, CLG loses that fight immediately because they have no damage outside of Doublelift, and Link kind of has damage because he went DFG, but his damage is more burst. And then the blue buff is on Link, which is whatever. So anyways, they go and force this turret. In CLG, what happens is Link clears the wave middle, and there's no turret, so the wave is going to meet right in the middle of the lane. Link should have immediately gave up this wave. He should have rotated into the jungle, and he should have been there for CLG to help get jungle control and clear out the pink ward, clear out this ward, clear out that ward. He should have been there to get the deep wards into the jungle for CLG, because right now he's not doing anything. And he doesn't do his rotation. Like Link just spent a lot of time walking back and forth over here, and he's just gonna end up clearing waves, coming back. And this ends up being really important because the top side jungle control for CLG, and Seraph plays really well, and he gets the flash and summers out of impactful, which would have been very important for the next fight. But turns out that CLG doesn't get any vision control, and Link goes back to farming, which is Link's famous thing. Like, I don't understand what Link was doing. He picked this Ahri, but he doesn't try to set up picks. And Curse Academy's whole red side top jungle is so full of wards. CLG should have gone and cleared out all this vision, but it doesn't happen. And next we're going to go into the second to last dragon fight, where CLG pretty much is down and they're getting desperate. So CLG clears out wards, they're poking a little bit, Seraph is at the front, which is very good. Afro jumps the gun, and he ults. What should have happened a little bit before, I'm going to point it out real quick, and this is something like where mechanics come into question for the pro players. And it would have been good, in my opinion, if Afro had done this. So they're going to clear out the ward eventually, and look how grouped Curse Academy is, and they're moving forward together as a group. So Afro should recognize this, and he should have flash ulted way sooner when Curse Academy was over here, and Curse Academy either would have flashed or they would have burned their escape, and Afro would have lost his flash. So it's worth it for Curse if Afro loses his, or it's worth it for CLG actually if Afro loses his flash, and Saint, Keen, and Bunny burn their flash, or they burn their escape. So that would have been more worth it, in my opinion. But Aframu instead engages all the way over there, which doesn't make sense. Bunny Fufu's all by himself, so you should immediately turn on Bunny, but not go too hard for him. But Doublelift dashes inwards into the Bunny box, which is super stupid. And Link goes around to try to get a flank, and Link should have been on the opposite side anyways when this fight's starting. I don't know why Link continues to group up with his team. He should be on the flanks when the fight starts. He shouldn't try to get to the flanks during the fight. So Chris comes in, and Link gets a super good flank, and I think he kind of messes up his DFG combo, and he doesn't immediately kill Bunny. Bunny gets shielded by a lot, and Link ults back into this into the wall when he could have easily flashed over here and prevented Chris from from being so close to his team. Which he should have done, and Link eventually burns his flash anyway, so it doesn't matter. And Chris has no flash, so Link should be back here, but what's going to end up happening is Chris Academy is all going to jump onto Link, and they're all going to be kind of protected, and it's going to force CLG to all go up into this funnel. And right before Bunny Fufu dies, he shoots out his hook, and he's going to get a hook onto Doublelift, so Doublelift is not going to be doing any DPS. And this funnel is super bad for CLG because Saint Vicious has his W evolved. Corki does a lot of AoE damage between his phosphorus bombs and his missiles. Chris does a lot of AoE damage just as Maokai, and Keen does a lot of AoE damage as Orianna between command attack and distance and stuff like that. So Keen gets focused. He's going to move his ball over here and get an ultimate onto Seraph and Dexter. And Aframu dies because he's trying to just zone people out. And this fight turns really bad for CLG because of just their initial fight positioning. and the way CLG tries to play out this comp, and they went 2-hand for kills. And Curse Academy just kills Dexter and takes the second dragon. So at this point, CLG is super desperate, and they're trying to make one last kind of pick. They're slightly ahead, but I don't think they know that. I think they think, oh, we're super behind because we've lost this dragon, and we're down 4 kills, even though they have more turrets and stuff like that, and Curse hasn't pushed anything. And even at this moment, you can see CLG has superior map control. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wards down. I'm pretty sure that's a ward. That might be a death, though. But anyways, they have a lot more wards than Curse, and Curse has 1 ward, 2 wards down on the map, and this ward isn't even that effective come later into the game. So over here, we have CLG poking out a bit. Curse reestablishes ward control in their topside jungle, so Curse very smartly moves wards from Dragon area to Baron area because they know they're slightly ahead, and they know Baron's going to be the next contested objective. So CLG clears out 1 ward. 1 ward, and Curse has the rest of their jungle wards, so they know CLG didn't move into their jungle. What CLG should have done is moved as a unit, or at least send someone like Dexter who can escape easily to clear out more wards deeper into Curse Academy's jungle, because right now CLG is going to go all walk into a bush, and from there it's just bad news bears for CLG, because they're going to get really desperate, try to force an engage over here. So Link, in my opinion, should be over this wall, or more so towards this side. Same with Dexter, and they could have easily cleared out this ward, but they're all going to sit in here, and this is so stupid because Bunny Fufu can easily launch a hook into here. Chris can easily toss out a little sapling into there, and Keen can easily ball Chris, and Chris can flash or jump into here and get a nice Orianna ult, or Key can easily just put the Orianna ball and ult CLG. But what ends up happening is Curse Academy knows, and they bait this very well, and Aframu jumps the gun, and so does Dexter. So Dexter gets a cocoon, and CLG should have backed from this, or Aframu should have ulted the Keen and Chris combo, because Keen is very smartly gets an Orianna ball onto all of CLG, and Keen is the man in this fight, and he was the man for the first 2 games. And CLG should have focused Keen, but they group up really hard for the AoE of Curse Academy. They end up getting chunked real hard, and they just die to the resets of Kha'Zix and to the AoE from Curse Academy. And CLG jumped the gun. They didn't play their pick count properly. Link had improper positioning. He should have been on the flanks. Dexter should have been on the flanks. Seraph and Aframu should have been up front, protecting Doublelift from everything. And they should have been able to clear out wards more properly. CLG has 1, 2, 3, 4 sweepers, and they didn't use any of them effectively. And they should have been able to grab pink wards. Like, CLG is super notorious for not necessarily selling their items or Dorans on time, or picking up the proper warding and proper pink wards so that they can get vision. So what CLG needed to do is get more aggressive wards, clear up vision more aggressively, and place pink wards into Curse Academy's jungle and defend them, because Curse Academy was super bad at this game about defending their pink wards. And jungle fights are still pretty iffy with going against an Orianna and Thresh, but CLG had to make the best out of their composition, and that's what they could do. So anyways, thanks for watching, and sorry about the cold, and tell me how you like this. I'll probably continue to do some content. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more of these promotional series. I'll probably do some for the EG and Complexity. I don't know if I'll do team fight breakdowns. I kind of want to do those for Worlds, because I'm super hyped for Worlds, and maybe I'll do a Worlds prediction video if enough people ask for it. Anyways, thanks for watching.